Caitlin, go ahead and unmute yourself and tell us what you need.
I was just going to ask a question. How
Sure.
are you today?
I'm great, Caitlin. Thanks for asking. So I wanted to reteach something that I taught you yesterday because we started really tough when we should have went much easier in the beginning. And so let's take another crack at identifying patterns to write equations. Identifying patterns to write equations. Remember, our learning objective for this part of our lesson today, because we're going to break into inequalities today as well. Our learning objective for today is to use patterns to construct, write, build an equation, okay? Our equations will match the patterns that we see in our XY charts. So let's go ahead and get to work. I'm going to model the first one with you. And then with the second one, I'm going to, that's going to be some guided practice for us a little bit. I stopped sharing my screen, so your screen didn't go blank on purpose, haphazardly. I stopped sharing my screen. Hey, Orlando.
Hi.
Okay. So we're identifying patterns to write equations. So let's look here at example 1, and I would like for you to draw this chart in your notes. Remember, if you can't see my screen, we've been getting a lot of rain, a lot of cloudy skies, so some of your internet connections may not be as strong. So if your internet goes out or something like that, know that I'm recording this lesson, and you can go back and watch this when we start working on some assignments for this on Monday. While you're writing this, I did want to make sure I told you 2 things, just some things about keeping the house clean. I want to make sure you know that there will be no new assignments in math assigned today. Okay, I want to make sure that a lot of you are behind in your online textbook assignments. So I want to make sure you have plenty of time to get caught up with all of your assignments. The assignments that you don't complete this week will go in the grade book as a 0 on Saturday evening. So technically you have until Saturday to complete your math assignments in our blue folder. And then 2, I wanted to remind you that our math test, our CFA, has been moved from next Monday to next Thursday. Yes, I want us to get some practice with inequalities and graphing inequalities before I give you that CFA, just so I can make sure that I have a pulse on your mastery of the skill. So you should be drawing this chart and labeling it as example 1. It may be helpful for you to write the date beside these notes today. Today's date is January 8th, 2021. So let's go ahead and get started. We have an XY chart here. We have an XY chart here that we're going to want to use. And this XY chart is going to be helpful for us because it's going to be, this is much easier than the 2 examples we wrote down yesterday, which should be a relief for you a little bit. I'm going to start off with purple today. Purple, actually, I hate purple, but I like writing with it. I don't know why. So I'm an enigma. So we're looking here at X and Y. And what we really want to be able to look at here, let's write a star statement in our notes. What we really want to be able to look at here is we want to be able to find the pattern that connects, row X with Y. Here we go. That connects row X and Y. So in other words, how did I get from 2 to 7. What must I have done? Yeah, let's start with this one. What must I have done to see 2 and 7? Guys, did you guys draw this table or were you guys writing this one? Somebody come on the mic and let me know. Were you guys drawing this table or were you drawing this table?
I was drawing that one.
Okay, so I will do this one then. This is a harder one, but we'll do this one. So when we're looking here, how did I get from 2 to 7? What rule did I follow? What rule was followed to show the pattern for rows X and Y? So what we want to look at here is 2 to 7, we're seeing an increase. So we know here that we will be adding and or multiplying. We could be doing both of them. So when we're looking here at this example, we want to find out, I'm doing something with X that will get to Y. Okay, so let's look at our first of what we could be doing. Could we just be adding 5? Could I do X plus 5? That works. Let's see if it works for the rest of them. 2 plus 5 equals 7. So it works here. Does 4 plus 5 equal 13?
No.
So that's not the rule that this chart is following. That's not the pattern here. No, the pattern here is going to be, and usually when you do one of these, you'll have 4 patterns that you'll get to choose from that will be able to help you out a little bit. The pattern that's being followed here is 3x plus 1. What does that say, y'all? What does that tell us? When I see a 3 and x beside each other, what does that tell us? When I see a 3 beside an x, a coefficient beside a variable, what operation am I doing? Adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing? So we should be able to see here that we are multiplying. What we're saying here actually is 3 times whatever x is, then add 1 is going to equal y. So let's see if that's true. 3 times 2 is what, guys?
6.
6 plus 1 will equal
7.
So that rule works here. Let's see if it works here. What is 4 times 3?
12.
12.
Plus 1, what will that equal?
13.
So that rule is being followed here. What is 6 times 3?
18.
Plus 1?
19.
19.
Very good. So we see our rule works. This is the pattern, times 3 plus 1. This is the pattern that's being followed here. Let's do one more of these, and we should have done this one first. This is the easier one. We want to see how do we get to y? What are we doing with x to equal y? In other words, how did I get from 1 to 2? Could I just add it 1? So that worked here, but will that work here? Is 2 plus 1 4?
No.
No. So that's not the rule. What I have to do, can someone look at the pattern, try to find the pattern there, and tell me, what do you think? What operation and number am I using with x to get to y? Could I be multiplying? And if I am multiplying, what am I multiplying by?
2.
Yeah, let's see if that works. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 2, it's 4. 3 times 2 is 6. Very good. It works. So, how do I want to write that? Does anyone have any idea? In my equation, as an equation, how could I write that? Why wouldn't I want to write it like this? Doesn't this look confusing? 2xx. No. How do I write multiplication when I'm writing an equation? How could I write multiplication when I'm writing an equation? So I could write my 2 right beside my x. So what this is telling us is 2 times a number equals y. In this chart, 2 times a number equals y. This is the rule or pattern we're working to follow. We're going to have a bell ringer, and you're going to have a baby quiz. And I say a baby quiz because it's going to be like 5 questions for on Monday with just the charts where you have to identify the pattern. Okay? So we'll get some more practice with that so you can tell Miss Neville through your work how you're doing with it. Okay? I'll give you time to write that down if you don't have it down yet. We're now going to move on to inequalities. If you would, in your notes, go to a fresh page, and we're going to work to introduce inequalities. And our learning objective for this lesson, because I'm really teaching you 2 on a Friday, or introducing a new one to you, and this is what we'll be working on for the rest of the week next week until our CFA on Thursday. Our learning objective is really understanding the greater than, less than, or equals to sign. I want us to break down this word inequalities. So let's look at what that word means. So in our notes, let's write down this question. What is an inequality? It's important for us to know if equality means equal, inequality must mean what then, y'all?
Not equal.
Very good. Not equal. Okay? So when we're working with inequalities, we're going to find that not just one answer, we can sometimes have more than one answer. Okay? There's lots of answers to make a statement true in an inequality. So we want to make sure we understand an inequality is a pair of expressions or numbers that are not equal. You'll understand what I mean by that in a second. Okay, so I want you to make sure you write down, you don't have to write down this whole statement. I want you to write down this first sentence here. When you solve an inequality, you need to show all of the values that make the statement true. So it's just like Ms. Neville said, we've been working with equations where there's one correct answer. Okay, now we're going to start working with inequalities where there will be more than one correct answer. This is where if you have a ruler or some kind of straight edge, you may want to have it with you. We're going to be making some number lines today. So we're going to get to work with our first example for inequalities. So it's going to say example 3. So example 3 is using a number line to solve an inequality. If you would please take some time to write down everything you see here on this screen. This isn't very big, so I want you to see x over 4, looks like a fraction, is less than 8. I then want you to draw this number line with these numbers on that number line. We're going to be working with this today. Take some time to get this done, please. Miss Neville's going on in 3 minutes at 12:50. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can let someone in the class. Hey, Emily, go ahead and unmute yourself and tell us what you need.
I can't see the screen.
Yeah, I know, sweetie. Do you know where to find my videos?
Like when you log out of the class and then go to activity, there's your videos.
Yeah, it could be there, but they're also going to be in my Schoology folder, in the blue folder, and on my school in our math class. I've got each of them there, and they're titled, and they'll tell you what we learned in the live lesson. I'm going to email you my YouTube link too, so you can watch them on YouTube. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started here, guys. Let's do dark blue this time. So we're looking at, and I'm going to rewrite it down here a little bit larger. X over 4 is less than 8. So we're going to solve this. Step 1, when we're working to solve an inequality, it's very similar to how we would solve an equation. So we're going to isolate our variable. And in this case, can someone get on the mic and tell me what's the variable here? Where's the variable in our inequality here? The letter.
or X.
Very good. So we're going to isolate our variable, and so we've got to do that. So we see here, anytime I see that fraction bar here, it's telling me that X is being divided by 4. So what I have to find out is, what is the opposite operation? What's the opposite of division? Someone turn on the mic and let us know. Say it again.
Multiplication.
Yep. So I've got to flip this fraction, and I've got to multiply it by 4 over 1. Okay? So when I multiply this by 4 over 1, that's going to cancel out. So now I have my X by myself, but we want to remember, whatever I do on the left side, I have to do it on the right side. And someone tell me, what is 8 times 4?
32.
32. So we've got our first part done here. We know that X is less than 32. So that means X could be any number that is less than 32. So back up here on my number line, I'm going to put a circle above 32 because X can't be 32. And then I'm going to shade on my number line. I'm going to shade. Why did you turn yellow? That's not what I asked you to do. I'm going to shade this way. Any number, what this is telling us is that any number less than 32 could be X. Let me say that again. What we just did on this number line, we showed that any number less than 32 could be what X is. Remember, because this is an inequality, it can have multiple solutions. Because it's an inequality, it can have multiple solutions. So X could be 31. It could also be 30, 29, 28, 27. Anything that's less than 32 could be what X is. We just know that X is less than 32. Any questions here? Any, Miss Neville, how did you get questions? I want to help you out. It's okay if this is still new to you. We just started this stuff, okay? And I'm not sure if you ever learned about this in 5th or 4th grade. Okay, so let's go on to example 4. So let's write example 4 today. And this time I'll use dark red. And we have here over on the side, go ahead and take some time to draw this, please. We have over on the side, 80 is greater than 4 times V. Remember, whenever I have my coefficient beside my variable, that means I'm multiplying here. Okay? So go ahead and write down this problem. And then write down this number line with the same numbers you see from Miss Neville. We'll go on in 2 minutes. Okay, so let's go on. So remember, the first thing we have to do right now, we're just treating this greater than sign like an equal sign. Okay, we're treating it like that equal sign. We have to isolate our variable. So right now, 4 is being multiplied by v. What is the opposite of multiplication?
Division.
Division. So I have to divide by 4 to get my v by itself, to isolate my variable. Remember, whatever I do on one side, I have to do the same thing with the same number on the other side. So what I'm asking myself here is, and you can use your calculators, what is 80 divided by 4? And yell it out when you got it. What is 80 divided by 4?
My calculator says 20.
Very good. 20. So what we're saying here right now is, and we're going to write under this, v could be any number that is less than what number, y'all?
20?
20. So we show that on our graph by putting a circle around the 20 and then shading all the numbers on that number line that are less than 20. So V could be 19, 18. V could be 19, 18, 17, 16. Any number that's less than 20 is what V could be. Remember, multiple solutions. Multiple solutions. So I want to go over with you, give you some time to write this down. Sorry, I'll stop. So I want to go over with you what's going to be expected of you, because we have until 1:44 to get some of our math stuff done today. So I wanted to go over with you what is expected of you for the rest of our math class today. Okay. And I'm going to do that by sharing my screen. I'm going to pull up our Schoology. When we go to our Schoology page, click on our math lessons. We're still in our blue folder, week 17 through 20. I'm thinking that this will be the last folder that you and I do together as math teacher and student. So before you go to Miss Paget at Paul Knox, or for some of you who are going back to regular school on the 25th. So what we see here is these are the assignments that you should have completed this week. I hope Emily can see my screen right now, because you can see when you go to our math class in the blue folder, you can see all of the lessons. It has a little film strip here. These are all the live lessons we've done this week. Okay? I'm actually going to change that one and make sure I include edit. Make sure I write January 6th. There we go. Okay, so all of our lessons. Okay, you also want to make sure, and some of you are doing really well, You also want to make sure that you're completing these assignments. You are emailing me copies of your work, because if you're not emailing me copies of your work, you are not getting credit for what you've done. I need to be able to see your thinking. If you and I were in a math class together, I'd be able to see your work at your desk. There's no difference here. Another thing you want to make sure of is when you log into your math textbook, I've got some practice assignments here. You can count these as a study guide to prepare you for your CFA on Thursday. So I am not requiring that you do these two assignments, use addition and subtraction and multiplication and division to solve equations. But if you do them, it's going to help to prepare you for your CFA on Thursday, on next Thursday, okay? To make sure you're able to do it. There's some other assignments here that you want to make sure you have done as well. I've got 9 kids here who still have not done the interactive writing algebraic expressions thing. So you want to make sure here, that you get this done because it's going in as a 0 on Saturday evening. Okay? All right, guys. Are there any more questions? Emily, go ahead and unmute yourself and tell us what you need.
Oh, it was answering a question earlier.
Okay. All right, guys. Let's get to work. I will see all of you on Monday. I cannot wait. Bye, my mathematicians.
Bye.
Bye.